Have to talk about the defence forces here, and unfortunately, this government here, I don't know what they have against the army. I might just say, I don't have understand at all what they have completely against, because this government here and the last government, the previous governments, they think the army doesn't exist. They think the defence forces, they don't want them to exist. In other words, like I have a few things to talk about here, and it's a disgrace. It's absolutely a disgrace that we live in the country that politicians get more than people who put their lives on the line. Go out to foreign countries, serve with the Irish, with an Irish flag on their shoulder, and we have politicians snagging up all the resources. And we're not. And I have to talk about a few things here. And there's a good lot. So listen to this. So as we speak at the moment, there's 4 veterans in County Cork who are naval veterans who served long time. Some of them are 14, 60, have served 30 years. So one of them has served 30 years. That's how much years they served to the life for this country. And just being left, abandoned, just being left. Just the country's, the government has just abandoned them. Simon Coveney he's getting his state car and he's got a driver. We're paying $500,000 a year for him to drive around halfway around the country, and he shouldn't have a state car, and we're paying that, and he's Minister of Defence. Not a word from him about this. But these men are facing homelessness. And it's especially coming up to Christmas and their years of service alone, they deserve a house, they deserve it, and there's the least that you and I can do for them to protecting us on the seas, protecting our waters, making sure that this nation's safe, and giving them preparing to die for this nation if necessary, and that's what these soldiers in the Navy and the Air Corps and the Army, they're prepared to die to protect and to uphold the Constitution and protect every citizen of this country, and this government just gives them the finger constantly. These men have served, as I said, 31 years one of them has served. That's a long time to serve in any career. And especially in this career, because you never know when you never know when you might be called up for something. And it's a dangerous job. It is a dangerous, not easy job. And obviously the training and everything's not easy. And that's only one thing. This is only the tip of the iceberg here. There's some soldiers at the moment as we speak, they don't think they can have Christmas. And as I say, that's a hard thing to say. Because some of these are young soldiers. I know a few that are young soldiers. They can barely afford to survive, and as I said, they were dependent on their other partner, the girlfriend or boyfriend. They're dependent on them. They're dependent on them to pay them, because obviously during Christmas it's very expensive, and a good lot of them have children, as I was saying, and some of them have said, and they have said it, that when is a fund. I think it's a GoFundMe for for this worthy cause, to give toys to the defence forces workers and give them money to help their children, help them have a Christmas, I suppose, and get gifts for the children, because it's that bad that that this is what has to be done at the moment. And again, this is a shame, because again you see these government ministers, 16,000 junior ministers, it's really a shame that especially these junior ministers don't do fuck all for anything. And same as the TDs, they're getting expenses, they're getting they got ridiculous office expenses, they're getting expenses for this, that and the other, and it's ridiculous. It's honestly a joke. It's an honest joke. I think even the Lord Mayor of Dublin, for example, I think they spent nearly I don't know how much, I think it was 3,000, 4,000 pence. I don't know where the hell they got 3,000 or 4,000, and they spent that on pens. That just goes to show you, I don't know what this country, where was the priorities going, and that's what I'm trying to say. So obviously there's been other things too at the top of it. So there's obviously massive issues with pay and everything already. And the Defence Force is the one, I suppose, organisation in the state that has been knocked down all the time and has been just abandoned, I really have to say, because we remember the troops being left in the Middle East, abandoned. They left them there they were supposed to come home with a certain time. They were just left there. They were just said, we forget about them. We'll go and do our own thing. That's what the government over here done. They just left them over there for another month. Didn't care less about them. Never really bothered to do much about it. But that's, Ireland has, to relatively speak, the Navy and the Irish Navy at the moment, the people we have at the moment, God bless them, but a lot of them have left because of paying conditions, and obviously that's affected. Ireland has a lot of water surrounded. Ireland's an island nation, for example, and I know people might say that's up to the Royal Navy to protect our waters, but again, you're missing the point here, and I think they do missing the point. because I would want to see Ireland defend itself, and Ireland, defending its waters itself instead of depending on the Royal Navy to do it. Because we're independent, and for an independent country, you need an independent army. And that's something that it's key. That's something that's key to a country's I don't know how autonomy, I suppose you would say, independence. Is having its own independent army able to defend itself. And that's something we can't do because there's 3 or 4 ships docked in port because they can't afford, and they don't have the manpower for. First of all, they don't have the manpower to put them on the oceans, to patrol our waters, our territorial waters. And it's really, really upsetting. It's really, really upsetting to say that. So it is a risk. It is a risk, especially with Brexit. It's a risk. Obviously there'll be checks and everything like that, and the usual things. And just to say, the Irish Examiner done an article. They are saying that Ireland, and I can see where they come from. I can see because with Russia, a few Russian planes have been going over Ireland the last few years, and obviously the Royal Air Force, the British Royal Air Force, had to interfere to stop them because Ireland doesn't have an air force to chase them off. In other words, because the Russian planes have been over Irish airspace, and the Royal Air Force had to be dispatched to basically escort them out of airspace, incursion into territory of Irish airspace, and Ireland couldn't do it itself because they have no fighters, and that's what I'm trying to say. Because there is risks, and Ireland is a risk because they won't do it really over England, the Russians or any other country. They won't do it over England because they know the Royal Air Force, and would probably most likely be around them, try to be there very quickly around them. But in this country, we don't have an air force. We have We have a few. We have helicopters that are unarmed, probably can be attached guns onto, but compared to the Royal Air Force, we wouldn't have a hope. And it just goes to show you, because as I said, it's an international risk, Ireland being so undefended, I suppose, because literally could nearly walk into the country, because it's so badly undefended, and it's the government's own fault. If they increase the wages for troops, there'd be a lot more people wanting to join up. Because again, I know a few people who want to join up, and they can't. They simply don't want to take the money. That it's just literally like cabbage. Cabbage. You might say cabbage. You might as well pay money for cabbage, and I might as well say straight. And it's not fair. There's so many young people wanting to join up into the army, who want a challenge in their life, and it's not fair. It's just not fair. And it's just a mess. It's just a complete mess. And this government has nobody to blame but themselves. And then you have Simon Coveney getting a bloody Gala drive on a bloody steak cow, and he's paying there's nearly over 300,000 a year. And for you and I have to pay him for the drive around half the country. It's a disgrace of a country. In Moses' history, it's absolute disgrace. And with the student nurses and everything, it's just you have to wonder yourself, who are they putting first? They're obviously putting the politicians first, and the bankers and the bondholders and all the rest of them. They've a whole lot of them cronies, let's put it that way. But they couldn't care less for the hard-working people who put in the effort, who do their work, who do a standing work in protecting their nation. Again, respect and loyalty, that's all they want. A bit of respect, a bit of money, a bit of respect and a bit of loyalty from the state. There's not much to ask. And I think every one of the 1916 heroes would be, spitting their graves to think that, what they sacrificed for an Ireland that's free. And I'm sure they would agree that Ireland should have an independent army, shouldn't have relied on Britain, because again, this is more or less what they're doing. They're relying on the British to protect us. And I think that's something that should not be done, because again, Ireland should be able to protect itself. I'm sure we can protect ourselves. Instead of relying on the Royal Navy, the Royal Air Force to take care of us and to mind us, I think we'd be able to defend ourselves. If we look at Finland, for example, very neutral country, has a very big army, 30,000 active, compared to Ireland with only about 9,000, barely going down, probably 8,000, 7,000 probably doing next year, compared to what it was. And that's a neutral country, and have a decently sized navy. They have good sized air force, like they have fighter jets, they have things like that, and they've relatively the same population, relatively the same economic standards. Ireland is rich. Let's be honest. The Ireland does have a lot of business, international business. you compared to Finland and Norway and Sweden and the rest of them. Ireland has a lot more business. Ireland's nearly switched to the United States, because Ireland has a lot of economic growth, I suppose. With all the international companies, because every international company's in Ireland, and obviously they don't pay half the tax, but they pay something. And they still get a good bit. The Irish government still get it, but where did that go? We don't know, and they still have to pay you up. So great country. But anyway, if you could help donate to this worthy cause to help them, help soldiers have a good Christmas this Christmas. Make sure you check it out. There's a link. You look up the Irish Examiner. There's a link there. I don't think I try and find it now, but it's hard to find links all the time because there's so many links for everything I have to look up. So yeah, take care everybody and bye.